Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. This is just repairing a brake sensor on an e-bike. Right, this is where the brake lever goes. I should have filmed this, but I never. This is where the brake lever goes in. That's the pivot where it goes on, and then that goes around onto the thing. So you need to undo this nut here. Pull the brake sensor around, the lever around, which I'll show you. This is the brake lever. Be careful because you've got springs and that on here, which you definitely don't want to lose. Okay, but that is the brake lever that goes in there, goes in that side, and then the brake sensor cable, which is here, the end has fallen off, so you need to have that so the motor cuts out when you pull the brake, otherwise it might surge forward. Also, it can cut your motor out completely. So this is a Dawes bike. This is actually serviceable because I've taken it apart. Hi guys, I just want to done this little diagram to just explain how the brake sensors work. This is like from a car sensor, but this is the one we was working on, or I was working on, sorry. There's like a side view, and there's a button, and you push that button in, and it pushes down this metal pin, which then moves down this way and comes away from touching this metal pin. There's two of these, like on that side. This is the side view, that's the front. There's two of these, and there's one wire on one of them and one on the other. So when the button is out, when you're not braking, that metal pin connects them both together. But as soon as you push it down, push the button in with the brake lever, that comes down, and then it's not in contact with any of these pins, which breaks the circuit, which cuts out the motor. So that's how it works on them. I hope that's explained okay. And on your brake pads, it's exactly the same thing. You've got a wire coming from the sensor, going into your brake pad, or shoe, and then coming back round, making a loop, and then going back to the sensor. And when your brake pad wears down, it wears through that wire, breaks the circuit, throws a light on to say your brake pads are worn. But that's for the e-bike where it cuts it out. All right, so it's quite easy. It's a very simple circuit, and it's foul proof. So it's a great design for cars and the e-bikes. What you need, and then what you need to do is clean up this. They use mastic in there, white mastic. You just need to clean it off and resolder it back on. It's just two wires. So, but when you do resolder it back on, make sure you've poked the cable through the what's it called? Through the handle. Otherwise, you're going to solder it on, realise you can't put it in, then you're going to have to resolder it again because it comes out the back of the handle, the back of the arm. All right. So you're going to have to poke the wire through where it's meant to go, put all these on the cable, solder that on, and then you can repair it. Just a quick fix. I don't know how much they are to buy. I don't even want to think about trying to look for one, but it is actually a repairable item because it just comes apart. So, right, what I've done, because it's awkward to do it on the bike, I've soldered some wires on the switch itself, and I'm going to test them for continuity because there's a lot of heat and it's melted the switch a little bit, so I'll probably have to carve a little bit off of that just to where it's pushed it over, just to get it back in the housing. So I'm going to test continuity first. Now we know we're on, and there is nothing, absolutely nothing. Damn. Let's see. Right, there's the cover off of it. There's another spring in there. This ain't going to be serviceable. It's 2 springs. So if we join these 2 wires together, we join these 2 wires together, and we can see the reason why it's not. So we know this, all right. No, it's not. It's actually this part. It's got to be it's got to be the cables. Right, big rookie mistake after taking this switch here apart like an idiot. All it was the black wire wasn't soldered on correctly. Now I've got it on continuity. It's a continuous on, and then when you press it in, it goes off. So all it was the black wire was melted into the plastic instead of being on the thing. But this, like, I've got to try and glue that so it's on there better, because it's coming away. So I'm going to glue that on and then come back, because if that springs off, it's good night Vienna. Right, got the 2 wires soldered on. I'd use a different wire. This black one is rather nasty some reason, so that's gone in the bin, and I've soldered a fresh wire on there. So now I'm going to test it quickly before I put it back together, and then I'm going to join this part on the wire that's on the bike. So if it ever does go wrong again, I can buy a new cable or a switch that is this size or whatever. They're probably available from China, and just change the switch without having to reroute the complete cable. But let's test it for continuity. All this is probably, like, the switch is probably only worth about £10 or £15, but it's £10 or £15 I don't want to spend on a stupid little switch. So let's go see. Right, I'm going to take that as that's it's done. But if it keeps playing up, I'll just get a new cable. But I can't be just. I'd say that that's working. So now I need to put this on there, and then this cover goes back over here. Which way was it? It's going to be that way. Put this back together, and hopefully it'll work. Because I bought this off a person, this bike, off a lady who said it needs a new battery. And then I took it down apart, put some contact cleaner on the contacts, and it seemed to be alright. Will that go back in there? That's the thing, because it's melted to fuck. I don't think it will. I'm going to have to sand it down. Oh dear. Didn't need to take this apart either. But of course, Might as well. What's all the fun in not taking things apart? Come on, you pig. It's that bit there. Go on there. Let's test it again. Hopefully it's all working. Saving yourself 10p. There we go. I'd call that success. Actually fixed something. Right, I'm going to put it all back together. I might take a couple of shots while I'm doing it. But I'm going to get it back on the bike and then put all these bits back on, the lever. I'm not sure how these springs go. Right, now this goes where this wire is. So I'm just going to pull that wire out there because I'm not going to use that wire. And I'm going to poke this one straight through there. Hopefully. I'm trying to do it one-handed, people. Sorry for the shaking. Okay. And that's in there. Goes around that way. Can only go in one way. So pull that in. I'm going to push that in with something. I'm not going to pull on the wires. Alright. By the way, I siliconed in the gap. Remember where the white silicone was? So that's in now. That's in where it's meant to go. And all I've got to do now is join these two wires up with these two. And it's going to have a bit more slack, and then I can push that in, and I'll put some shrink wrap on it, and I'll probably give it a bit of tape over as well. And that saves me taking all this out through here, through the frame, right round there onto the motor, or wherever it is, or sensor to cut it out. I know it's a bit more palaver, but if you was going to do it that way, you're going to have to tie your new cable onto there and pull it through the frame. And there's a lot of cables going through this frame, and the chances of it coming out would be, not that good. Because then if it does come out, what are you going to do? If you can't, you'll have to do it on the outside of the frame. So I'll come back to you when I start putting it together. Right, them two springs on the handle, I can't see because it's sunny. You see it, them springs? Try and do it. Right, let me do it here. Right, these two springs. Well, it's one spring, but them two levers off the spring. Right. They go against that bit there. See these slots there, just there? Them slots just there. So either one side of that, and then that pivots it through that hole there. So I'll put it on and then I'll come back. Okay, I've got the lever on now. You can see the springs just there, leaning against it, hopefully. This is the 8mm nut. You don't want to do it up so tight that it's just absolutely smashing it. But you don't want to leave it loose enough, you just want to Yeah, that's tight enough. Okay, and this part there is what your brake cable goes into, and then it screws into there. You pull it around there, which I'll show you. That'll be next. That's the way it goes up there. All right. So when you loosen it off, it gives you a bit of room as well. So let me get this back on the brake cable, or I can do this first as it goes. Let me get some shrink wrap and some electrical tape, and I'll join these up. There's it done with shrink wrap on. I had to glue this back in place because that's what snapped off and caused the wires to break. But I'll probably put a bit of silicone around there. But yeah, that's been shrink wrapped and joined. I just twisted the wires together. I'm thinking to myself, let's hold on. I might put some electrical tape as well, just as some backup. And yeah, so now I've just got to get the brake cable back on, and that is it, and tighten it back up, and then it should be, that's it. So you make sure you've got to get them springs in the right, otherwise it won't go back. And the springs are right there. I don't know if you can see them, but they're right there, the springs. So all right, I'll come back to you when it's all done. Right, you need to get this end of the brake cable into this slot here, and then it goes round to there, and then you can adjust it with that. But if you're finding it difficult because you haven't got a lot of slack on it, you can squeeze your brakes together. See it? And that will give you a bit of slack to allow you to get back in there. That just slots in there, then the cable will run around there, and then you screw the adjuster into there, and then that is it. All right. Right, so the cable's been pulled round, as you can see there. That's the slot it goes down. Then you just need to screw this part in here. Be careful with screwing this in, because you don't want to cross thread it, because some of these are made out of really cheap material. So let me get that in. You definitely don't want to cross thread this, because no doubt it probably, if it's this side gone or that side gone, if you do that, then you have to what's it called, you have to replace the brake cable. And again, that one's okay because it's at the front, which won't be too difficult. But if it's a rear one, I think it runs through the bike again. I mean, it's a terrible design running through the bike. I know it keeps it clean, but if they snap, you're never going to get them all through there. You'd have to be very lucky. Anyway, off topic.